This week on the Virtual Skeptics, Bob exercises his First Amendment rights. He has all the crazy. And Tim has been kidnapped yet again. I'm your host, Brian Gregory. I can't seem to figure out these stupid audio settings. I feel like I forgot something. Because the music is like all over the map this time. But
I don't know.
Hey.
What's up?
My mic is working. That's a good thing.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Hi, welcome to the show. Let me do this because I want to because we're all kind of in a weird mood, so I'm going to have music going the entire show, and we're all going to be mellow this time.
Yo.
Thank you for tuning in. Let me introduce the short staff we have tonight. Although these are, it's still a good.
Who are you calling short?
Mellow, short, and smaller size panel, not people.
Oh, so I'm wearing my she be but little. She
be mighty.
Always,
fierce.
Always sees you looking down at your shoes. This is Bob Laskowitz, CSI's conspiracy guy, web columnist, blogger for Skeptical Humanities, and Skepticality contributor. And this is Eve, editor at Eastybird, editor and blogger at Skeptical Humanities, and contributor to Skepticality and insight at skeptic.com. This is I like this tone. This is a nice tone for a show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice and mellow.
Welcome
to
cool jazz.
This show that we're doing. Hi, if you're watching,
wake up,
mellow. You can tweet with hashtag Virtual Skeptics. You can chat on the YouTube, and we'll do our best.
Our damnedest, we swear.
Yes, our damnedest, I swear. If
Caller,
there's
are
no
you there?
Trivia, what?
Nothing.
Caller, are you there?
I thought we perhaps our radio station had changed ownership, and we'd gone to talk radio from cool jazz.
Next on NPR. So if you can figure out the movie behind me and let me know, that would be, I don't know, I might decide to turn the music off in celebration. We'll see.
Oh, for fuck's sake, someone.
Anyway. So up first this week, Bob is got something to do with the First Amendment, which I'm hoping that he can do it in a mellow way. Knowing Bob.
Yeah,
I get kind of
mellowness.
Yes, we'll mellow is not my oof. So my milieu. Okay, so last week on the 21st, a study came out, or not a study. The results of a survey came out that were published at the Brookings Institution website. They were by a guy named John Villasenor, and they found a shocking level of intolerance on college campuses around the country. Among the questions, does the First Amendment protect, quote, hate speech? People who represented, who claimed, who are self-identified Democrats, 39% said yes, but 41% said no. And the Republicans who were polled, 44% said yes, 39% said no. And overall, 51% said yes, 38. So, like, 4 out of 10 is, would be concerning. They asked about controversial speakers. So there are two questions that had this scenario. Quote, a public university invites a very controversial speaker to an on-campus event. The speaker is known for making offensive and hurtful statements. The survey included a set of questions considering student views regarding actions aimed at disrupting the speech. A student group opposed to the speaker disrupts the speech by loudly and repeatedly shouting so the audience cannot hear the speaker. Do you agree or disagree that the students group's actions are acceptable? 62% of Democrats said yes, whereas 39% of Republicans said yes. for 51% agreed, 49% disagreed. The other one, a student group opposed to the speaker uses violence to protect the speaker from speaking, prevent the speaker from speaking. Do you agree or disagree that the student group actions are acceptable? 19% agreed, 81% disagreed. And so this was picked up all over the web.
19% agreed
1 in 5.
that violence was okay?
Yes. According to the survey. Okay?
Okay.
And it went all over the place. It popped up in the Washington.
To be fair, Ann Coulter can't be killed. Not without special tools.
That's right. Would it be perhaps tools that Gwyneth Paltrow sells? Anyway, so because vampire. Anyway, so and so it showed up in the editors of the Wall Street Journal published a statement saying that this was very concerning. This was the editorial board saying that this is very concerning, and they didn't blame the students; they blamed the professors.
Oh, in the humanities, perhaps?
Well, they didn't get that far, but they blamed the professorate for letting students down. And the Washington Post, a columnist there, was concerned, and a number of prominent skeptics, many of a libertarian bent, also voiced disapproval of the state of free speech on campus. My concerns about this, I talked about this with my class on Friday, that there were a couple of things that worried me. The phrasing of the question suggested that hate speech might not be protected. That's something that you can influence the what people say by suggesting that, by making the option available. And to prove this point, I had just the other day, I had given them a worksheet that had a checklist of all of these things I want to make sure that they've done in their papers. And I said, I have done this, yes/no. And I had students who turned in papers and had circled, no, I haven't included a statement about, what this assignment is. Like, that's the wrong answer. So they were picking something that they thought was a viable answer, and I should have known better. Anyway, so like the way that, does the First Amendment protect hate speech? Suggested perhaps it does not, right? It also says something like suggests that hate speech is a legitimate or maybe legally defined type of speech. But
it seems to me the questions also, because of recent events, seem to assume. All right.
Damn you. I don't mean to silence your free speech, though.
Yeah, you really do.
Yeah. So, okay. This is
Just for that, I'm putting the music back on.
So, yes, this was something that I had. The point that you're getting to is something that I didn't pick up on and wouldn't have been able to pick up on. But I had some other concerns that the context of the questions was these other questions. If you answered one was okay, perhaps you're more likely to answer the next, increasing commitment to a position. It's harder to back away once you've so I thought, unless I didn't know who had been polled. I didn't know how they'd been contacted. And another thing that bugged me, and I've been doing the skepticism thing for a while, the guy was an electrical engineer with expertise in computer science when we looked him up in class. And I asked my students, is this legit? I mean, like, he doesn't seem like he would necessarily have, and not to dismiss it because of who he is. That's wrong because a computer engineer did it or electrical engineer did it, but it's not the specialized skill set of, say, a psychologist or a pollster, right? And so that night, I after this, my classes ended, I got a message, a tweet came across that had the Guardian quoted, a link to a Guardian article that said that pollsters were calling the study, quote, junk science. And I was like, yes, if you can hear that.
Yes.
So some of the problems that...
If it walks like bullshit and quacks like bullshit, it's bullshit.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of anecdotal evidence for intolerance on campus of diverse ideas. Or is there? Because we don't know. I've looked for this and I can't find it. Maybe it's a shortcoming in my research. Maybe I'll talk to a librarian soon to see if they can help me with it. But I haven't seen any good data suggesting that college campuses are any more censorious than the larger population, or that when we see someone like Milo or Jackass
Milo
appear on campus, that this happens every time. Who's doing it? Like, I haven't seen any hard numbers that's showing out of how many speakers, out of every 1,000 speakers, how many are silenced on a campus. I have never seen that. There are no numbers as far as I can tell.
Does it depend on how you define silence? I mean,
yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, there are a couple of things that you could do. You could have the crowd's veto, where they just shout you down. You can have, have a riot. That would seem to be a clear indicator that something intolerant was happening.
Of course, sometimes when there have been riots, it's definitely not necessarily the students doing it.
You don't know.
I said not necessarily.
Yeah, and that is also concerning, because you can't see who they are. Now, you can bring up the first image. The first image is the from the Brookings Institute. The second image, if you want to just fly past that one.
Brookings Institute. Yeah,
it's from their webpage. That was the header of the report.
Okay.
And then this was the Guardian's take on it. And there were a lot of real problems that they identified.
A derogatory picture? I mean, it's... What are they doing? Is that a
USA?
Who knows? It looks like a fraternity hazing to me, but I don't know.
I know, that's my first thought, but
yeah.
It's
so
weird, so like for instance,
thank you, sir. I have another.
Yeah. I have some anecdotes, but I'll let you finish.
The Guardian just Googled
American
college students being stupid.
And that's what they came up with.
Sure, that would be the first image that came up.
Yeah, it's true. So some of the problems that pollsters identified, one, the sample was not a random sample, necessarily a representative sample. It was people who self-identified online and bought in. So they opted in to do this. This was not like a randomly controlled sample. This was what's the word I'm looking for, Eve?
Crap.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. So these people opted in. It was a self-selected group. Let's put it that way, of self-identified college students. That's problematic because it makes the inclusion of the margins of error in his study completely questionable. In fact, they called that malpractice. Apparently, you need to actually have a good control or a good randomized sample in order to do margins of error. but we don't have a randomized sample. We have a self-selected sample. So those are invalid and misleading, suggesting that it's more sciencey than it in fact is. Additionally, it was this guy's first public opinion poll ever. It was not submitted to peer review, which would have helped.
How did this get attention?
It was published at the Brookings Institute. You know,
And it said what people want to hear.
And it totally fulfilled the fantasy that college campuses are not doing the First Amendment its justice. You know, another problem, and this seems significant, like somebody who did polls for a living would be able to point this out if it had been reviewed by someone who knew better. That the questions were asked in the days after Charlottesville. So people went straight, and when I asked my students about it, even I said, so how many people here would punch a Nazi? And about, 1 in 5 hands went up, right? Which is not to say, does the First Amendment protect hate speech? Or there's a controversial speaker on campus who says hurtful things. The context matters. And so that kind of invalidates this.
And it's not only that. It's what I was going to say earlier. The stories we've heard have all been alt-right speakers or extreme conservatives. Milo, Ann Coulter, Charles Murray, with the bell curve guy. And I think in that way, you're going to get more conservatives say, no, that's not acceptable. They're not imagining like Colin Kaepernick coming to campus and not properly saluting the flag.
Right. It's always the narrative out there is that that these places are houses for illiberality.
Regressive
the
left.
Regressive left. Conservatives aren't allowed on campus or to speak their minds on campus, and that our students need safe spaces. Now, one thing that we have on campus, we do have safe spaces on campus. Those are for people who are actively being attacked because they're gay or a person of color, or they're actual places with actual trained professionals who are there to intervene in case bad shit goes down, because we want to be prepared. Not you can't speak in public because everybody will fall on their fainting couches.
Yeah. And usually those safe spaces, like if they have a safe study space, it's not like you can't go in there if you're a white male, white heterosexual cis male. You can only not go in there if you're going to harass the people who aren't like you, basically.
I've never seen a safe study space,
Yeah, apparently there are.
Do those exist? Okay.
Yeah.
They do worry about microaggressions and triggers and all these types of things, which are really overblown. I do a class about World War II in the movies, and you tell the veterans there's going to be some explosions, and that kind of covers it. Let me know if that's going to be an issue, and we'll find something else for you to do for obvious reasons, and Eve?
If they go to a World War II class,
they're got to know. Yeah, well, there's that.
They really should pretty much expect explosions and not do something else. But
right?
Okay.
So why is this important? And why is it so frustrating that it keeps getting, in the absence of good evidence, we have anecdotes, which are the worst. And I wish people who are otherwise skeptical would take that to heart. When it comes to this issue,
say at the drop of a hat, the plural of anecdotes is not data.
So here's some anecdotes about people being shut up.
Yeah.
You know, I am frustrated because I think the university is under attack. Our students are being targeted. Our institutions of higher learning are now. If you'll bring up the next slide, the Attorney General Jeff Sessions yesterday announced. Do you like that?
Yeah.
Announced
And more
that.
cookies.
Yeah, I know, right?
He's never looked that appealing.
That's right.
Well, maybe if he offered huge cookies.
I know, but he never does.
Yeah,
Just
that's his
racism.
problem.
This is. Oh yeah, he would never allow the fudge stripes together.
Yeah.
He's condemning
I
them.
was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
You know, God.
Fudge stripe cookies.
Now, so yesterday he said that he is going to jump on the federal government is going to start joining legal action against universities that have things like speech codes and that. Now, I actually do have some problems. He cited the Fire Fund. I have problems with speech codes and standards of, having a formal but speech codes on college campuses often have things like they're just ill-considered policies that don't afford.
I'm not familiar with the speech codes.
A speech code will say that you can't say anything that is likely to offend someone or be mean-spirited or something. And it's like some brain-dead administrator passes this, and it's used as an excuse to harass someone. Basically,
people have been complaining about speech codes since the 90s, at least.
Yeah,
and the thing is, they're fine at private colleges and universities. They can do what they want.
Right.
They're not fine at public universities.
And so I'm on board with that critique. I'm on board with other things that that FIRE does. Concern about whether or not university administrators and students and faculty are the ones who should be investigating claims of sexual assault on campuses. Should those be handled internally? I personally don't think that they're qualified to. And God knows, those are important issues that can be debated, right? But he cited the number of schools who have speech codes, and a lot of them were, draconian and ill thought out, and in my opinion, should go. And yet, I don't entirely trust him, because at this Georgetown talk, they had segregated people into free speech zones.
Well, and there were people who were disinvited to the talk.
And people were disinvited to the talk, and you had and disinvitation is a big, scary, that's really considered poor form when you disinvite someone to your thing. It's seen as a form of deplatforming someone and chilling speech. And so disinviting audience members, that's not classy for your free speech talk. Additionally, he didn't take questions, only pre-approved questions. I doubt his sincerity. I don't think Jeff Sessions is the one to police college speech. So, yeah. Anyway, are there any questions from our massive audience?
So Georgetown is a private institution?
Jesuit.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, technically they can set any rules they want for their speakers, right?
Well, yeah, of course they could. Okay. Just big-time hypocrisy on the part of Sessions.
And
the organizers.
I agree.
So he actually was talking. I don't know if he used the term snowflake, but about people
can
being
can I read the quote? Can I read the quote? Yeah. Where are you, Mr. Sessions?
Blah 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 blah. Clutching their pearls.
We make these cookies with love.
And then he had the vapors.
Oh, sorry.
Oh hell!
It was bad.
It's on. It was. It was really. It was talking how that college campuses are. I don't know if you use the word snowflakes, but coddled students who expect comfort over content or something like that. And it
And
was
then he was coddled from hearing opposing opinions.
yeah.
And
Whereas the American university was once the center of academic freedom, a place of robust debate, a forum for the competition of ideas, it is transforming into an echo chamber of political correctness and homogenous thought, a shelter for fragile egos.
So why do you think?
Yeah.
No,
Go ahead.
okay. So why do you think that this is his point of view? Why do you think he's pushing this particular point of view? And is he trying to make sure that conservative ideas are spoken and discussed in colleges? I mean, is that his point?
I kind of think it because they think colleges and universities are the enemy, honestly.
I really do think that that's it. That they see them as being like liberal enclaves. And there may be more liberal college professors than you might see in. It doesn't necessarily reflect the population.
They kind of are, but the reason they are is because of the ideas.
Right.
I guess it's not like, because I don't know about your college, but when I was in college, I don't know, but I didn't accept the ideas of my professors just because they said them.
Yeah.
And we encourage debate. We encourage disagreement in our classes. I mean, you're a colossal hypocrite if you get up there and demand that people just listen to you, because you depend on open debate and free speech.
So are there any professors that you know of in your college or similar that openly push conservative ideas or religious ideas?
That I know personally?
I know of.
Yes.
And
well, I guess at SLU there definitely were.
Yeah.
In the history department.
So
this in the English department.
Yeah, and in the English department too. Yeah, and religious ideas.
Yeah.
You know, often in the humanities, not so much, but there are people
who
do.
Like it's a problem. So
and yeah, there are in your office, Eve. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Well, I don't know that she's that pushing it in her. Anyone's doing it in their classes.
Yeah. So, which would be inappropriate.
Yeah.
For people in our program, but you'd often see them in business studies. You often see them in
who?
Conservatives.
Oh, right.
People who self-identify as conservative in business programs and in science programs too. I mean, there are socially conservative scientists. This.
So is this another one of those cases where people with these points of view are frustrated because they're losing the battle of ideas?
Yeah.
Well, no, I think that there is some of that, like the David Horowitzes of the world, who've spent the last 20 years attacking what he perceives as liberal bias and
occasionally going to jail.
In college campuses, having there have been blacklists of college professors where people are named and shamed for their political leanings, and people are often included on those, not for the things they say in class, but for things that they say in their free time.
Mm-hmm.
And so there really, I think, is and this is one of the institutions that I suspect will be harder for politicos to degrade. And they've had a lot of help from certain skeptics, as far as I can tell. Who oppose things like postmodernism because it's nihilistic, but get the fuck over it. It's fringe,
Mm-hmm. And how did Georgetown's law faculty
react
to the attorney general?
They showed up on the front steps of the venue where he was going to speak, the law faculty, and knelt.
Really?
Yes, they did.
Which was naughty of them because they were not in their free speech zone.
They kneel like this, or did they?
Took one knee, mofo.
Awesome.
So yeah. So yeah.
So this is kind of related, and I mean, because we're talking about faculty, or we're talking about representatives of the college and students as far as ideas. And we kind of touched on a little bit on guest speakers a little bit. Here in Baltimore, last month, the University of Baltimore announced that one of the speakers they're inviting to their December commencement is Betsy DeVoe.
Yeah. Sorry.
And there's been a growing...
Oh, they should have invited her. That's the only way she can get on campus.
Yep. So, well, it's a public school. It's a
I
public
know.
university. Yeah, there's been a building student resistance to this. Petitions. They've been talking to the president and representatives of the school, trying to get her uninvited.
Shouldn't happen.
I don't know. They're expressing their freedom of speech to say, "What the fuck do you think you did to our commencement?" But
at this point, I think because it's Kurt Schmoke, who used to be a mayor of Baltimore, is the president of the university, and he's been pushing back. He's been making it stand and is kind of saying this is an opportunity for free speech.
It's an opportunity for the other speakers to address her. One of the best things that happened was Mahmoud Ahmadinejad came to Columbia during the UN week a couple of years ago. And so the president of Iran came and spoke, and then he was invited to speak at Columbia in New York. And Columbia was being
at a commencement?
No, it was just to talk on campus. But regardless, to come and speak, and it could have been commencement. Go out and
gave him an honorary degree, because I'm sure they'll give DeVos an honorary degree.
Well, yeah. What can you do?
So it looks like at this point that she's gonna come for commencement, and the students are gonna organize some kind of protest.
They can get up and walk out, and that's totally fine,
Unless,
but what I wanted to say about it, what happened at Columbia,
agrees to them.
What I want to say about Columbia is that the president of Columbia, after being panned and criticized for letting this guy come on a speech, spoke truth to power, man. Told him that he was abusing human rights systematically, and that was very naughty, and made the mofo squirm.
Yeah, it's still an issue of giving a platform to abhorrent people. It's like the issue of, do you really want to debate young Earth creationists, because it's just giving them a platform?
Yeah, in this case, she already has a platform.
Yeah,
she has power,
and I'm sure she can. Her broomstick would get her onto campus anyway if she really wanted to.
Just so I'm clear, the proper pronunciation of her name is DeVos?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
All right, I'm done. Sorry about that.
Yep. Cool. Good discussion. I like that a lot. It brought up some things that a lot of us have been thinking about recently. I didn't see there's not a lot of questions online, but I was kind of hoping. Anyway. Thanks, Bob. All I see here is that Eve has all the crazy.
Yes, I have like a few quick stories.
Should I
kind of
here, just so we can make sure the crazy is not too crazy.
Yeah, well, it's sort of like the news blur Sharon used to do.
Okay.
Short stories that weren't worth a whole segment. Oh. So last week, I talked about the apocalypse that happened on Saturday, or started to happen on Saturday, or was maybe going to begin to start to happen sometime around Saturday. Well, Saturday ended up being pretty apocalypse free. So it turns out the apocalypse was delayed. Perhaps Planet X got held up in traffic, or it didn't want to be upstaged by hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires, real human suffering. Who knows? At any rate, David Meade, who's been all over the news the last few weeks, making predictions about September 23rd, says he never said the world would end on that date. He was much vaguer.
Yeah.
There was supposed to be a sign to presage the coming of the rapture.
What was the sign?
Well, the sign was apparently a little tiny bit too subtle for most people to read. But no fear, the 7-year tribulation will begin on October 15th.
Oh. So
that's when the
So there's time.
Yeah, that's when the action starts, Meade says. Hold on and wait. Hold on and watch. Wait until the middle of October, and I don't believe you'll be disappointed.
Well, I'm
For
sure
those
that
are people who are really looking forward to the tribulation.
I'm sure that Christmas shopping will be in full force by then. So
Yeah, that's true.
that is quite a tribulation.
Yeah, he's still focused on the August 21st eclipse, but now instead of emphasizing the 33rd day after the eclipse, which was the 23rd, had to do with like Jesus's age, for instance. But now he's zeroed in on the 40th day after the eclipse because 40 days is big in biblical numbers lunacy. Nothing, he says, is expected to happen in September, which was not what he was saying a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
By the way, Newsweek says that Meade describes himself as Catholic, but I think he may be Catholicing wrong. You don't usually hear Catholics babbling about the rapture and the tribulation.
That's not our thing.
Yeah. Regardless, eventually, according to Meade, Planet X is going to collide with Earth. The rapture will happen. But would that collision look the same if one or both planets were flat?
Mm-hmm.
I detect a segue.
Yeah, very good. You may recall last year, rapper B.O.B. or Bob had a Twitter seizure about the shape of the Earth. His pithiest tweet was, "Once you go flat, you never go back."
Means something completely different.
Yeah.
Jesus.
This got Neil deGrasse Tyson's attention, and he suggested to Bab that the Earth actually is spherical, according to facts and shit. Bob demurred and asked if Tyson was a Mason, as one does. Then he released a rap song called Flatline. He basically suggested that Tyson was in the pay of Big Globe.
Big Globe.
I've read the lyrics to the song, and they don't make a lot of sense. It's a mishmash of assorted conspiracy. So there's lizards and clones, because apparently there are celebrity clones. Masons, quote, a cult called science, unquote. Heliocentrism, the sixth victim. But the most concerning part isn't about the flat Earth or those other things. He raps, but before you try to curve it, do your research on David Irving. Stalin was way worse than Hitler. That's why POTUS got to wear a kippah.
A what?
A Jew? Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Flat Earth is stupid. Holocaust denial and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories are dangerous and vile. That's really much worse than the flat Earth thing. Anyway, with the help of his nephew Stephen, Tyson responded with a rap called "Flat to Fact." Actually, Stephen did all the real rapping. And then in a television appearance, Tyson proved gravity through a rather dramatic mic drop. Well, now B.O.B. is back. He's launched a GoFundMe called...
He can go fund himself.
Yeah.
Go
You're not the
fund
first
you.
person to say that. Called Show Bob the Curve. He wants to launch his own satellites to establish whether the Earth has a curve or whether it's a round disk. Originally, according to the stories I've seen, he was trying to raise $200,000, but now the goal seems to be $1 million. Since September 21st, he's raised $2,958 as of about an hour ago.
Mm-hmm.
He donated 1,000 himself, although I'm not sure if that's reflected in the $2,958.
It's almost enough. He could probably get a satellite, like a microsat, to launch off the space station. But of course, that would be in NASA's hands, and
yeah, though you can't trust them.
Can't trust them. So
yeah. In a video on the GoFundMe page, he says he wants to let launch one or more satellites, quote, as far into space as I can, or into orbit as I can. So
orbit
as far
makes no sense
into
with a flat object.
orbit. What?
Orbit makes no sense unless it's.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's that.
Well, I like the way the flat earthers think that orbit is just, it's going around in like a figure 8 around on top of a flat map. That's what they think.
Well, different flat earthers have different.
The guy at NASA, he looks confused and bemused.
In on it. Don't ignore him.
Oh my God, yeah.
He's building space robots to hide the fact
for this, because the map makers have been making flat Earths for forever.
Yeah.
Now,
I don't know if he's aware that there are already a goodly few satellites in orbit around the Earth. But those satellites are probably in the pay of globalist lizards, celebrity clone Mason Jews, and are part of the cult called science. So I read the comments on the GoFundMe page, and now I kind of hope the world does end next month. Although, I have to say, there are a few people giving him like $5 and then making fun of him. So, which actually also strikes me as being kind of stupid. But whatever. But if the world does end next month, at least we will be spared any new products offered by Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop.
Yay!
We've had rocks that you can stick in your steam-cleaned vagina. And now we have another product that you probably didn't know that you needed. If you can bring up the slide.
Oh boy.
It is, of course,
stupid
psychic
sauce.
Vampire repellent. The description on the bottle says it is a unique and complex blend of sonically tuned gem elixirs.
What?
And I know what all those words mean separately. But when you put them together like that, I'm a little bit.
Hang on. What's the frequency, Gwyneth?
Yeah.
Never mind. That's not my joke, by the way. I saw that online.
Yeah. So, including black tourmaline, ruby, lapis lazuli, onyx, and garnet, oils of rosemary, juniper, and lavender, and Reiki charged crystals.
Reiki charged.
Yeah. According to the Goop description, a sprayable elixir we can all get behind. This protective mist uses a combination of gem healing and deeply aromatic therapeutic oils reported to banish bad vibes, dude, and shield you from the people who may be causing them. Fans spray generously around their face and heads to safeguard their auras, although there's also apparently a warning that you shouldn't spray it in your eyes or inhale it. So just aim at the aura, I guess. It costs...
So it's not like Banaka,
Oh,
No.
yeah, right.
It cost. Did you just snorkel? Anyway, it cost $28 and currently sold out. But you can add your name to the wait list. Now, I will point out that when Jade Eggs were getting a whole lot of attention in the press, almost all of it mocking and negative, they also sold out. It's unkillable. It doesn't matter how stupid it is. The more stupid it is, the more attention it gets for being stupid, the more
And people buy it anyway.
buy it. Jade Eggs, by the way, they're available again. They're back in stock because they're not so much in the news. But your psychic vampire spray, that is sold out. Goop does not sell a repellent that protects you from contemptible, money-hungry quacks, though, because I checked. No.
So I couldn't help but notice that the vampire on this label is the only thing metaphoric.
Yeah.
Everything else is intended to be real.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm not even sure the vampire is
Psychic vampire?
supposed to be metaphoric.
Psychic vampire is a type of vampire.
Yeah.
Victimized by a vampire, but aren't
Energy.
actually.
I thought that it was like this. The propellant was psychic against vampires.
No,
but it's
psychic
vampire. They should,
vampires
they should like group that somehow. So
Yeah,
drain
some
you of
punctuation or something would be really useful there. You
they
know?
drain you of energy and stuff.
Yeah, so it's people who say that they're psychic vampires say that they feed off of other. That's how I first heard of it.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
there are
suck
people that
up-
do that, but it's not psychic. It's just they're draining.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Some of
Gwyneth
them mean it
Paltrow.
quite literally. So
Yes.
if only there were a good kind of apocalypse.
Yeah.
One that involved robots or something.
And I seem to detect a lack of segue, so I'm assuming that was your stories.
That was it. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Enjoyed that. Next week, Virtual Skeptic starts with a reading of the intro from How to Lie with Statistics. That's Ben Bradley on the chat.
yeah.
Which is not a bad
It's on
book.
my shelf at school.
Okay, so to cheer everyone up, I am going to show you a video. Wow, it's loud. How did that get people so loud? Oh, I know what it is. That was nicely loud. Although
That sounded ominous.
I know. It's supposed to. It's supposed to sound ominous because of the.
It's not a
Incoming-
robot
see, that's-
tickling.
That's the apocalypse that's going to come rid us from all these people and stuff. I don't know. Maybe.
I myself welcome
cheer-
the cleansing nuclear fire, but that's just me.
Yeah. Well, to cheer everyone up, I'm going to show you a video of a humanoid robot getting knocked down.
Oh no.
Just gonna piss them off.
First off, I want to point out the incredibly large title to this video.
Mm.
And there's some text. There you go.
Yeah.
He
He
just
didn't
pushed
fall
him
down. He was
Just
pushed.
pushed him down. And yeah, he fell down and it hurt. That's what that graph tells you. So, some stuff about what it's doing, which is not important. I'll explain it. So this is a humanoid robot built by a group including the University of Tokyo and the Kawasaki Heavy Industries Group. They are trying to build a humanoid robot, like a lot of people are doing nowadays, to do a lot of tasks that humans aren't suited for, but using tools that are human friendly and environments that are human friendly, like the DARPA challenge a few years back. And instead of going through the approach of trying to make the robots robust, as in being able to balance and do all this other crap, they're designing them so that if they fall down, it's not a big deal. And you just get up. And if you fall down again, you just get up again. So they built
looks
this.
a little defeated, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is. There you go. Hold it. He's just going to get up and then knocks him down again. Damn it, this guy.
He's such a bastard.
I know.
Damn it, Gary. Stop it.
And if he's like rolling in pain, see him curling his knees up. He's like, ah.
I noticed they have not given him strangling hands.
Yeah, well, soon. Anyway, and if you look closely at the end of this video, the guy with the stick has a little compassion. He grabs the nice soft pad in preparation for it falling again, and then realizes at the last minute, waiting for it.
They have an automatic limbo machine.
Yep. So he's like, okay, he's fine. He's not going to fall down again. I won't need the pad. So there you go.
Wobble, wobble, wobble.
Yeah. So their approach is a little different than some of the other ones. They're trying to make it so that it doesn't really matter.
But yeah, you'd expect that to kind of be worked into the design. What happens if it falls over? It can right itself. So I mean, it's a little different approach. They're just trying to make the thing really robust and have a lot of different ways of getting up. And if it's in the middle of getting up, it gets knocked down again. It just finds another way to get up. So this is a picture of some of the concept behind it. The idea is that it's a frame, and they can put various different stuff on it. And if it's because this is the same thing that all the DARPA robots report. The idea is for emergency response. And I like the bubble suit, like their green bubble suit. It's just funny that
I was saying that those are ridiculous, sort of puffy princess
shoulder pads. I know. It's like it's a gigantic killer Barbie.
Yes, it's very, very out of date there.
No one would expect a giant killer Barbie.
Yeah.
It's gonna rescue me. No, it's come to make sure you're dead. Yeah,
she would be falling over all the time, by the way.
Well, yeah. She's off balance. Top heavy.
Yeah. And her feet are deformed.
That's right.
So there you go. More robots being knocked over, and more reason why they hate us, because we keep knocking them over.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yes, I should be playing Chumbawamba. Thank you, Alex Murdoch.
Thinking that too.
Yeah.
And Ben Bradley's comment, in quotes, disable human before attempting to stand.
That's very good.
Did you see what Ivanka tweeted the other day? It was a picture of her going, and it was just a bunch of code.
Okay.
Like the Ivanka bot had broken down or something. It was really funny.
Okay.
All right.
A meme. Yeah, as far as I know, Ivanka is not a bot.
It's true.
But I don't know everything.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, we have not performed a Turing test on her. Or Trump, for that matter. Can you pass a Turing test? Okay, so there's that. Nice comments on the chat. Thank you very much for participating. Let's wrap this sucker up. First off, I need my anti-stress music. Okay. Do we have any announcements? Is there anything coming up besides the winter eventually, even though it's like 90 degrees here and it's the end of September?
I've got nothing. I might be giving talks in the next few weeks about logical fallacies in New Jersey, but those are private events.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
And they're in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Are you putting out any more rap albums?
No, I've put that angry period of my life behind me.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That angry and kind of stupid period.
You could do Canadian rap.
Just be really polite.
Politeness and it was in a mighty
doors for
way
people.
somewhere.
And affordable health care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And back bacon. Cool.
Mm.
So I'm having a fall party at my house coming up soon. If anybody who's a friend of the show who might be in the Baltimore area in the mid-October, reach out to me. I'd love to meet some people.
Mhm.
And I'm not that afraid to show you where I live. But
See this tour the studio.
yes,
There you go.
tour the set, the glorious set that we use to produce the show. Anyway,
See how the magic is made.
yes.
And get him to stand in front of his TV and just guess stuff that's playing behind him.
I have an extensive library. We can do that for hours. Never mind. I guess all we have to do left is book time.
And did you mention who got the?
Well, actually, it's someone in the chat. Sean Flars, I'm assuming. It's not someone I know. It's not someone who regularly watched the show, so I don't know who he is. But congratulations.
Yeah.
He was first one to come up with the movie Chain Reaction. Keanu Reeves, Morgan Freeman.
Keanu-ish.
Yeah, he was very Keanu in his long hair phase. Point Break long hair phase.
Yeah.
Although this movie is like 1 star on Netflix and should be. Trust me. So I like it because it's nicely stupid and has wonderful like free energy technology that they hand wave and use it to blow stuff up. So
yay.
Cool.
Anyway, everybody got books?
I got one. Can I go?
Go for it.
Terry Taylor is one of the world's leading experts on pediatric malaria. Since the 1980s, she spent 6 months of every year inside malaria's epicenter in Central Africa, unraveling the mysteries of a disease that takes the lives of 3,000 African children every day. Taylor meets me at the airport in Blantyre, a 500,000 strong city in southern Malawi, at the beginning of the 2007 rainy season, suffering an average of 170 bites from malaria-infected mosquitoes every year. Between 40 and 70% of the entire population of malaria-plagued nations, such as Malawi, harbor malaria parasites in their blood.
Lovely.
Yep, uplifting.
So it's a poetry book.
Yep.
Eve?
Charlotte's Web. Germanic warrior women were, in fact, noticed by classical historians. In an exhaustive survey of the evidence, however, Reinhold Bruder came to the conclusion that these passages were borrowed one from the other and can be reduced to a single reference in Plutarch, who mentioned that Germanic women fought during the last phase of a lost battle. Since defeat meant not only death for men but also slavery for women, the latter had an additional incentive for fighting. This slim historical evidence of fighting women has been further corroborated by German archaeologists who have recently discovered graves in which wounded male and female soldiers were buried side by side in battle dress. Except I think that they may have decided that the female was male.
I'm guessing what's that movie with? Never mind. I heard the name Plutarch, and I was thinking, what's that dumb movie with where that woman with the arrows and the kids fight in an arena?
Oh, Mockingjay.
Yeah, I forgot.
Hunger Games.
Yeah, I erased it out of my memory because it was that good. Anyway. Sometime else, a large exploration colonization expedition of human origin was overtaken in the course of its journey by a deadly plague. In a vain effort to halt the spread of the virus, the modular sections of the vessel were sealed and then separated, each left to its own fate. The section concerned here was drawn through a black hole and spewed into the universe where world of Greyhawk fantasy setting exists. That might have given it away. Chance brought it to that very planet, and its computers and robotics brought it to an impact landing. Or intact, sorry. I like
impact landing. Is like, wow.
Yeah.
That was a short story.
So intact.
You could do that on Twitter.
Impact, intact. It was an intact impact.
Good.
Anyway. I could keep going because I love this one, but hey. Bob, what's your book?
Mine is Sonia Shaw's The Fever, How Malaria Has Ruled Humankind for 500,000 Years, and
The Fever.
The Fever, yeah.
Are there any Pringles in that?
No. No,
Keep a
just
Pringle.
death.
Poetry. Eve, yours.
Old Norse Images of Women by Jenny Jokins or Jokins, I'm not sure. And it's a beautiful book.
With a library sticker.
Well,
on it.
yeah, but it's also just completely plain.
Yes. Mine has a much nicer cover. It's very pretty. Here you go. See.
Ooh.
Very pretty. Yeah. This. I know. Oh. This is a recent edition, nice, like raised cover collection printing of all four of the what's the name of this damn series? The S series, adventure compilation for Dungeons and Dragons. These adventures, these are modules for playing the game. But these were pretty much designed by Gary Gygax and others to.
No kidding.
Lead children to Satanism?
No,
huh.
these modules were designed to kill off characters that people have built up over long periods of time into really powerful characters. So they created these adventures that were super incredibly difficult, and had great
so funny
riches in them, so that people would play them, and there's characters that they've kind of cheated into becoming super powerful would get killed.
That's hilarious.
And this is from, I mean, the original modules I played them back in high school, so they're that old. But
so your characters are just so powerful.
They keep breaking hips.
I know exactly. Anyway, so any of the D&D people out there probably have either heard of this or know it, and at least one of the modules in here is referenced in the book Ready Player One.
Huh.
It's just got to soon to be a movie, which I hope doesn't suck. Anyway, so there's the book time. There's the stories. There's the mellow mood music. There's all the stuff. Thank you all for watching this show. Did we do everything? Did we do everything? I think we did everything. Yeah. So
possibly need some more cool jazz. I'm not sure.
No, I'm going to play the theme.
Okay.
But I'll read in a nice, hello,
soothing, common announcer's voice.
Kind of a NPR.
And our logo was designed by Sarah Mayhew at sarahmayhew.com, and our music can't be used with permission. Oh my god. I need to push that switch.